Hello and welcome back to the 100 Acre Wool Knitting Podcast. My name is Bella and I am a knitter and knitwear designer and sewer and fiber artist and just lover of all things fiber and making things. And this is a podcast where I like to share with you what I'm working on, possibly some new things that I've finished and maybe new designs that are in the works, so on and so forth like that. So if that sounds interesting to you, then keep on watching. It's been a little while since my last podcast style episode, but I do have a lot to share with you today. I'm very excited about today's episode. A lot's been going on around here, and yeah, just excited to get into it. It is the holiday season now. It's December. I hope you've been having a lovely holiday season, and hopefully you've been able to spend some time with family and friends, or if you're going to very soon, whatever holidays you celebrate, I hope they're joyful and that you get to spend it with the people that you love. And I also hope that you have been making and knitting or crocheting or whatever your craft is. I hope you've been enjoying that in this season as well. I know for myself, I tend to get really excited, and my kind of excitement and the amount of things that I make definitely ramps up in the colder season. So I'm having a lot of fun with making a lot of things recently. So today's episode, I will stop rambling. Today's episode, I have, let's see, 6 finished objects to share with you. Technically 5, but also kind of 6. So that's very exciting. I don't know if that's ever happened before. Today is like almost all finished objects. And then, as you probably saw in the thumbnail of this video, there's a lot of yarn that has come into my life recently. A lot of yarn. It just kind of happened. Does it ever feel like that for you? I don't know where it came from. It just arrived. No. They all have plans. All of it has plans, and I've already started swatching for a bunch of things and so on. I don't know. I'm getting ahead of myself. We'll talk about that towards the end of the video as well. But before I get into the first finished object, we did have a giveaway going on in the last podcast episode. That was for the new Knitting for Olive book, which is a beautiful pattern book that is in English. Knitting for Olive is a really wonderful knitwear design company, as well as really lovely yarns, which again, I have some now and I can talk about that with you. But yes, so the giveaway was for their new book, and I have drawn the winner for that, so I will announce that now here. So I just did a random selection from the comments that mentioned the book in the last video, and the winner is CatB2069, so CatB2069. So if you can send me, you can either DM me. Actually, I don't think you can DM me on YouTube, but you can find me on Instagram at 100 Acre Wool. I always have that linked in the description below my videos. If you can DM me on there, or you can also email me, 100acrewool@gmail.com. Get me your information and I will put you in contact with the Knitting for Olive people, and they will be sending you the book. So I hope you enjoy that. And thank you to all who commented on that video last time. I did want to point out, I always forget to say this, but I do read all of your comments. I don't have enough time to sit down and write a response to everything, but I really do read everything, and I really appreciate all of your sentiments and everything like that. So thank you so much for being here and for listening to what I have to say. It's always a treat. Yeah, so let's get into what's been on my needles. What have I been making? So I guess we'll start with what I'm wearing. So first, here at the top, I finished a new pattern design. I just kind of on a whim was like, we need a Christmassy like holiday hat, right? We need a festive winter hat. So I just kind of made one. So this is actually a new pattern. It's called Through the Forest. This hat is a new pattern that is already out on Ravelry. Yeah, I'm very excited. I was just really feeling like I wanted a hat like this. I was just inspired by, you know, the evergreen trees that are all around here. Our leaves are, on the deciduous trees, almost all the leaves have fallen by now, so it's really just evergreens that are left, and I just thought it would be so cute to put that into a hat. And also that you could turn it into kind of Christmas trees, which I do have some tips in the pattern if you would kind of like to turn these little guys into even more Christmas tree looking. I do have some tips. You can add some little baubles with different colors, or maybe add some little things in these lighter parts to kind of make it look like ornaments. I thought that would be cute. So yeah, just a really fun little, quick little knit. You can absolutely knit this in one day. This final version, I did do a lot of testing along the way of designing this pattern, but this final version did take me 1 day to knit. So it is definitely good for maybe a last minute gift if you need to do that for someone in your life. Yeah, I just thought it would be really sweet. And then I put a little pom-pom on mine because I just like pom-poms. I like to use the little pom-pom makers. They just make life easier and they always come out really well. So I would definitely recommend those. Not sponsored or anything, but I like the clover ones. That's just what I have and it works really well. So this one is a little bit small. I think I may want to get some of the bigger ones in the future, like the bigger, the like little things that you use to make a pom-pom anyway, so that I can use the same yarn as I did for the trees in the hat to make a pom-pom for that. So yeah, this was a really fun little project to make, really fun little knit project, and I may actually knit some for Christmas presents for family members because it was just so quick and easy. Like if you've done any sort of color before, it's pretty simple, and I think it just gives a really cute look. I did include 3 different sizes in the pattern, so it can fit a range of head sizes, and yeah, like I said, tips about how to kind of spruce up the trees, no pun intended, or pun intended. Yeah, so that was a new little pattern that just came out, and I'll have that linked down below. The yarn that I used for this particular sample is actually some of the yarn that was recently sent to me so kindly. So Ba Ram Yu a couple of weeks ago sent me some of their yarn just to try out, just to see how I liked it, and oh my gosh, when it arrived in the mail, like immediately I fell in love. It's so wonderful. I feel like I say that a lot of times about yarn, but I just love yarn. So like most of the time I'm gonna be obsessed with it. Just putting that out there. But I would say this is a really good yarn if you are looking for a more rustic yarn. It's 100% wool. It's different. It's a blend of different sheep breeds. So this particular base here, the wood note base, this is 34% BFL, 33% Masham, and 33% Merino. So it is a really lovely base. Yeah, it does have that more rusticy feel to it, but it is on the softer side of that. Out of all of the more rusticy kind of yarns that I have felt in the past, I think that this particular blend, really helps kind of soften everything, especially with that merino in there and the BFL. So it's a really lovely base, and this is exactly the base that I used for the hat. So I had 2 of each of these and now 1 of each color are now in the hat. Not a whole skein though. I think I only used about half of each skein, a little bit less of the green, but probably about half. So if you have 2 colors of DK weight yarn sitting in your stash, or even half of a skein, like 50 grams of 2 colors of DK weight, you can absolutely make that work for this hat. So yeah, the wood note base, that's what I used for this hat, and I really love how it came out. It's not scratchy on my forehead, which is definitely an issue for me sometimes. That's why I have such a hard time finding yarns to make a hat. I know hats are so like quick and easy, you can just whip one out if you need one, but I have so few hats because it's hard for me to find a yarn that will work. So this is a good one if you want a rustic base, but not too scratchy. Your mileage may vary. I'm not sure how sensitive you are, but for me it works. And then I'll just talk about the other yarn that they sent me as well. They also sent me these little pip guys, which are so adorable. And I actually have another idea for a hat pattern, but that's gonna have to come in the future. So you will have to wait and see. But I think it's gonna include some of these colors because they just did such a good job at pairing these together. I mean, these colors that they decided to send are just gorgeous. So I'll just say really quickly, this is their pip base, and what color is this? Jorvik. I think this one is Jorvik. This one, which is my favorite, kind of like a mustardy, gold, brown, I don't know. It's really beautiful. This one is Brass Band, brassy, that makes sense. And then two of their naturals. So the darker one is Plumpton, and the lighter one is Malham. So I just wanted to point these out for you. These I think would go perfect with the color work. If you're looking for a fingering weight yarn for color work, these just feel like they would be great. I haven't knit with them yet, but I can tell they're probably gonna be great. So I'm really excited to do something with those in the future. Again, I have a plan, I think, but we shall see. And then the other finished object I am wearing, but I will get into that in a little bit because it's sewing. So let's talk about knitting first. Okay, let's get into another finished object. So my partner, he didn't necessarily need new socks, but I told him that he did because he didn't have any unspun yarn socks, which have now become my new favorite yarn for socks. So I figured with the, weather getting colder and, things cooling off and we need some more cozy things to wear around the house, keep our feet warm. I figured I would knit him some socks out of unspun yarn. This that I used for these, this is specifically Nutiden yarn, which is my favorite yarn overall. And again, just to put it out there, I'm not sponsored by Honor Oak Air, which is the maker of Nutiden yarn. I just really love the yarn. So there we go. That's why I use it all the time. But anyway, yeah, for these ones, I just used 2 different colors of Nutiden yarn, and I will just put it up close here. Hopefully you can see that. It turned into a really lovely variegation. So this is actually one strand of 2 different colorways, and it is one strand of Omgi, which I believe is a dark blue. I think that's how you say it. And then the other one is a dark purple, which is Infinitive. So yeah, he picked those colors out, and then he was like, do one of each of these. Do one of each color and see how that turns out. And it came out so wonderfully. It just, it's not really marled, it just looks like a variegated yarn. I just thought it turned out so beautifully. So good on him. He's got a good eye for color. So yeah, these are the Kura socks, which I've talked about a lot on here. I've made quite a few at this point. They're one of my favorite sock patterns, and they're just really fun to knit and really easy to knit. You don't have to pick up stitches at any point, and they're bottom up, which is also my favorite because I never know how long to make it and what if you run out of yarn and so on and so forth. So that's just my opinion. So yeah, these are Kura socks by Evil Knits, Miss Evil Knits, which I always have her tutorial for this linked down below. It's not technically a pattern, but it's very easy to follow her video tutorials. So would definitely recommend that. So yeah, these are his Kura socks, and he's been wearing them and saying they've been very cozy and toasty warm. So that makes me happy because that is the goal of these. They're very squishy and bouncy and wonderful. So I'm happy that he can have those now. And then another finished object is, I think I shared with you this a little bit, maybe not, I'm not sure. I can never tell how long it's been. But anyway, I finished a pair of socks for myself. So these cuties, how adorable. These are called A Shortcut to Mushrooms socks, and these were part of Woolen Twine's sock box that I collaborated with her on. She had a cute little sock box with some yarn and some little accessories. This is one of them. This was a handmade little notions, little acorn box, which is so freaking adorable. I haven't been using it. I've just wanted it out so I can look at it and admire it because it's just so cute. So that was included in the box, and then I had put my hand felted stitch markers, which are also mushrooms, so it all went together so well. So yeah, and then it also included this pattern. So this pattern is by Anna Sjolsvard. Oh, I don't know how to pronounce her last name. I don't even want to try because I don't want to butcher it. I'm sorry. But I will have the pattern linked in the description below this video. I would definitely recommend checking it out. It is just so adorable, and it was really quick and a pretty simple knit, if you've done some color work. So it's just these adorable little mushrooms all the way around the cuffs, and you do some not duplicate stitching, but some little wraps at the end to make the little dots on the mushrooms. So it was really fun. And I did learn some new techniques in this pattern, which were really cool. I hadn't made socks in that exact way before, so that's always really fun to learn a new technique. So yeah, I haven't been wearing these yet because I wanted to keep them nice to share with you all. So now I can finally wear them. But yeah, I'm really excited about it. And this yarn was really lovely to work with. So this again was Woolen Twine's yarn. This is her sock base, and oh, it's such beautiful yarn. The color is just my favorite. I'm not sure how well it'll come up on camera because it is just such subtle variegation. Woolen Twine's yarns, she does all naturally hand-dyed yarn, so it's just lovely, lovely and decadent. I don't know how to describe it. It's variegated. If you see it in person, it's definitely variegated, but I feel like it's not going to be enough to show up on camera. But it's really beautiful. It's like this, how would I describe this color? A little bit of a burnt pumpkin, maybe? It's just beautiful. So these were her yarns that were also new to me. I hadn't worked with them before, but here, let me just show you the cakes I have here. So here was the main color, and then here was the one of the minis for the mushroom part. This is also a really beautiful color. It's like a brown with some purple to it. Really, really lovely, deep color. And then just, I think, an undyed white for all the little white specks throughout. So yeah, I really enjoyed working with this yarn, and it was such a wonderful change of pace. I've been working with a lot of unspun and thicker yarns recently, and things that just aren't as like smooth and like rhythmic to knit with. But this yarn was just such a breeze and so much fun because of like, it's just a thin, it's a thin fingering weight 2-ply, and it was just beautiful. It was just beautiful to work with. So I really enjoyed that. Just slides off the needles so well. And if you would like to see, if you're curious a bit more, I did, if you haven't seen it already, I did post a few weeks ago a little fall time knit with me, a little vlog style video, which is my first one of that style of video that I've ever done before. And I share a little bit of the process of knitting these socks. So yeah, if you would like to check that out, if you're looking for something else to kind of listen while you're knitting or crafting or doing whatever else, some nice little fall vibes. So there we go. Okay, let's get into another finished object. This is the one I'm most excited about to have finished. So I have finally finished a new sweater pattern design, and can I get it all in frame? Maybe there. So this is a new sweater pattern, which for the longest time I hadn't decided on a name for it. But thank you so much. In my last video, someone had commented an idea for a name Hygge Hug, which I just think is so beautiful and perfect, because I designed this to just be slouchy and cozy and warm. It is just throw it on anytime, hang out in the house or go out somewhere. It's meant to be cozy and comfortable. It's really drapey due to the pattern of the texture and the stitches and the way that it is knit up. It makes a really drapey, flowy, and comfy yarn. I mean, fabric. Yeah. And then it also has kind of a drop shoulder. I really don't know what to call this construction technique. So I kind of just, I don't know what to call this construction technique, but it gives kind of a drop shoulder sort of a look. So sure, let's call it that. Maybe it's also kind of a saddle shoulder, somewhere in between those two. So yeah, it's just really slouchy and really drapey and really comfy and kind of elegant, and I just really love how it came out. So this is now called the Hygge Hug sweater, and the test knit for this, the test knit call, will be coming, but I have not yet started writing the pattern because I'm still working on a different one, which I will talk about in a second. Well, actually the pattern is finished on that one, but we haven't started test knitting. Anyway, I'm getting ahead of myself. So, yeah, the Hygge Hug sweater. So this one is knit from the top down. So you cast on and then you do some rows where you're not fully joined in the round yet until past the kind of opening for the neckline. And then you're joining in the round and you go in the round and round and round for the rest of the sweater. And then at some point you put some stitches on hold for the sleeves, typical sort of construction. And it also has a split hem at the bottom, so let me get that in frame here. So the back is a little bit longer than the front as well, and I wanted it to be a split hem so that it was just enhancing the drapiness and the comfortableness. I know that's not a word. Just enhancing the comfort of the whole garment, and also that you could chuck it on over a pair of jeans and like tuck the front into the jeans if you would like, but still have the back over top if you would like that. I sometimes like to do that with my sweaters. So yeah, and then the arms or the sleeves are a little bit oversized. The body is definitely a lot more oversized, but then the sleeves are less oversized just to keep some shape. That would be my preference. I don't like it when sweaters are completely all oversized. I just feel like I'm lost in it and it doesn't feel as warm. So that was how the sleeves turned out. And then I will just take this off the hanger so I can show you the sleeve or the shoulder detail. So here is how the shoulder looks. I hope that comes up on camera. It kind of looks like, one of my friends said it looks like a leaf, which I think is really funny. I think it definitely fits. And yeah, I don't really know what else to say about this one. I'm just really happy that it's finally finished, and I honestly really want to wear it all the time, but I'm trying to not, so that I can keep it nice for pictures and such, and you know, writing the pattern. I do really love writing the pattern, that whole process. But again, I haven't gotten to it yet. So this will be coming though, probably in January is when the test knit will start, I'm pretty sure. Have to get a few things in order, but yeah, so I'm really happy with how this one turned out. And I did want to mention that I finally did a sewn Italian bind off on the hems, since it is top down. All the hems you would need to finish in whatever way you would like. So if you can see, I have done sewn Italian bind offs for all the edging, and I'm really happy with how it came out. And it was not a slog, which is great. So I am definitely going to plug here Knitting for Grace, Mia from Knitting for Grace. She has a podcast here on YouTube, And a couple weeks back, she made a video. Oh, so wonderful. She made a little tutorial video on how to do an Italian sewn bind off with unspun yarn, which totally has saved my life. It's a great tutorial and it works really well. So I would highly recommend, if you are trying to do an Italian sewn bind off with unspun yarn and you're having trouble, because I always did, it's a bit of a struggle, then I would definitely recommend checking out that tutorial. So I will have that link down below. And for this particular sample, if you haven't heard me say already, this particular sample is 1 strand of Newtoden yarn held with 1 strand of silk mohair, and the silk mohair that I used was from Shibui Knits, and it's a really lovely silk mohair. I just have to say, I can tell the softness. It's just a little bit softer than some other silk mohairs, so that was really lovely to work with. And again, I was just so happy with how this fabric came out, because Newtoden unspun yarn in general, if you haven't worked with it before, then you may not know, but it's kind of hard to make it drapey. It's not usually drapey. It doesn't really want to be drapey typically. I would say spun yarn, probably you have a better chance of it being drapey. Also depends on the weight and your gauge and the blend and everything like that, but unspun yarn, not really usually drapey unless you have like a really open gauge. But I don't know, just the way that this fabric came out, I'm so happy I now have unspun yarn, an unspun yarn sweater that is drapey. I just love drapey garments. So yeah, anyway, I'll stop rambling on about that one. But yeah, that's the Hygge Hug. And if you would like to be a test knitter for that, one way is to sign up for my newsletter. I always send out my test letter, I always send out my test knitter applications through my newsletter. It used to be that it was only test knitters would be, like, I would only look for test knitters from my newsletter, but then I realized, I was thinking about it, I was like, well, what if people are just finding out about this and then they aren't able to apply, and I don't want to block that. I don't think that that's productive for anybody. So I've changed it, so now newsletter subscribers will get the applications, the test knit application first, and then I will post it to the public. So that's kind of how it's going to go from now on. So yeah, you can sign up for my newsletter. That is linked down below. Also, you can follow me on Instagram, and I will always post my test knit applications on there as well when they're available. So that's the plan. Alrighty, let's get into another finished object. So this one I have shared on the podcast before, but I changed something, which is pretty important. So I thought I would share with you what I did. So this is another design of mine. This is the Primaveral Cardigan, and this had been on hold for a few months because I really wasn't sure what to do. So I had designed this cardigan, and I knew that I really wanted a scallopy edge on the neckline, the button band. And the first method that I tried to do it just with knitting. I tried a ton of methods just using knitting needles, trying to make it a really nice thin scallopy edge. I've seen larger scalloped edges done with knitting, but I really wanted this to be really thin and delicate and just a subtle little scallop edge so that it almost looks like it's just blending into the rest of the fabric. So I was having a really hard time trying to figure out how to do that, and then I thought I had found one that I liked, but then it was kind of rolling weird and it didn't look professional. It didn't look like a nice finish, at least in my opinion. I didn't really like how it turned out. So it kind of just, I was waiting. I was just waiting on it, and I was just trying to figure out, in the back of my mind, just trying to figure out, what do I want to do with this? Do I want to rip it out and just do a kind of normal double knit button band, kind of just straight, just forget the, scallopy edge sort of idea? Or do I want to leave it as it is and it's great as it is? I just couldn't, I didn't know what to do. So I decided to rip out the button band that was there, the scallopy button band that was there, and I decided to make it a crochet button band instead, because I found a method to do it that would be very simple. I think even if you haven't crocheted before, maybe not, but I'm really new to crochet myself. I just started just a couple months ago really getting into crochet, and I was just doing single crochets. I don't know. I think that this method is now a much better look, at least in my opinion. I think it's a much more professional, nice finish instead of what was before. And I think it's also simple to execute if you would want to do this. So I have decided I will have two methods drawn out in the pattern. You can either do a double knit band, button band, or you can do this crochet scallopy edge button band. So here's what the scallopy edge now looks like, and it's laying flat, and I just think it's come out much better now. So I'm happy with how it is now. And I am calling this finished. So yeah, the rest of the sweater has been finished for a while, but yeah, the rest of it, if you haven't seen this before, it's just a really sweet little all over cable cardigan. Some of them are cables and some of them are not actual cables, so it's just a fun, sweet little knit. And this test knit is coming very soon, if not already. I'm not sure when I'm going to be posting this, so the test knit might already be out, or it will be coming very, very soon in just a couple days. So just keep an eye out for that. I might put a little written thing here if it's already out. But anyway, all that will be linked down below, of course, and on my Instagram page and such. But yeah, so, and this is also a worsted weight sweater, so very appropriate for the cold season now, and gonna get a lot of use out of this one. It's very cozy, warm, and squishy. I used, of course, again, I used 2 strands of unspun Newton yarn for that one, which makes a very lofty, fluffy kind of worsted Aran weight yarn. So yeah, that is that one. And I think we'll get into my sewing finished object now, and then we'll get into whips and acquisitions and such. Blah, blah, blah. So what I'm also wearing, I will take off my sweater now so I can show you better. But this is, I have finally finished sewing this shirt, this blouse, whatever you want to call it. Tee? It's not a tee. Shirt. Sure. So this is the Gilbert top, and who is the company? I think it's Helen's Closet, which is the designer of this pattern. But yes, I have finally finished it, and I'm so happy with how it's come out. It took longer than it needed to. There was a lot of time that I was just working on other things, and this was just kind of sitting, even though it didn't need to. And I was also procrastinating on the button bands, or the button holes, because I'm always scared about that part for some reason. But yeah, I've finished it, and I'm really happy with how it came out. The button holes I did with my sewing machine, so hopefully you can see there. These were done with my sewing machine. I just have a little buttonhole foot, which makes life a lot easier, and I actually also sewed on the buttons that way as well. And I love how the collar turned out. It just lays really nicely and really flat. I think that was because of the interfacing that they have you put in, and it's also double thickness of fabric, so love how that came out. And the sleeves are actually a lot longer than this, and I kept them the regular length in the pattern, but I just decided to roll them up because I just thought that was a cute look, and I like that sort of length of a short sleeve on myself. Yeah, so this was a really fun experience. I learned a lot of new techniques. I had never made a more tailored kind of top before with so many pieces and seams going on. And it was a really interesting technique to do the back. Let me see if I can turn around here. Hopefully you can see this little back portion from here up. This part is double thickness of fabric. So that was kind of an interesting thing. You have to like turn it and do like a burrito method, and that was really cool. So yeah, this was a really fun project. I don't know if it's a fully beginner project, but if you've done some sewing before, I'm sure you can tackle it. And yeah, I'm just so happy to have it finally finished, and I think it came out pretty well. The only thing is that the back is a little bit floaty, which I'm not sure why, but I'm okay with that. I think it looks great, and I'm going to be tucking it into things a lot anyway, so yeah, just happy to have this finished. And the fabric that I used for this was just a simple cotton double gauze, just 100% cotton double gauze that I picked up from Joann's, so it was really inexpensive to whip up as well. So yeah, finally happy to have that finished, and I think I will most definitely be sewing another one at some point. I think it would be really sweet to have this in maybe like a summer linen kind of a thing, because I just think the cut of this top is just so perfect for summer. And you could also wear it open as well, so just have it really breezy and airy. So yeah, that's how this one came out. I'm gonna put my sweater back on because it is a bit chilly in here. So I think that was all the finished objects for this week, and I think I only have one whip. I've been working on some other things, some new ideas and such, but I will share that with you in the future. So one of the whips that I have made a bit of significant progress on is the Knives Out sweater that I'm knitting for my friend. I'm really hoping that I can get this done before the end of the year. I don't know if it's going to be done by Christmas, but maybe it'll be early January. I just want him to be able to wear it in this cold season, because that makes sense, right? So definitely very soon. But yeah, so this is what it's looking like now. I have done the neckline, and you can see I have a little strip of red in there, because that's what the original Knives Out sweater looks like. If you're not aware of what I'm talking about, my friend wanted the sweater from Knives Out that Anna wears in the movie. I'm forgetting her character's name, but anyway, it's kind of a marled, like dark bluish, purplish navy sweater, and he really wanted that same sort of look. So the original one has this sort of red strip here on the neckline, and then also on the sleeves further down is some more little red stripes on either sleeve. But he did ask for a little bit of a change. He was thinking like maybe I want it to be straight sleeves all the way down, so no decreases, you know, no fitting at all. But since it's a drop shoulder and I made the openings to be quite roomy so that it would be comfortable to wear, it's not really gonna work, because as you can see, this is very wide, and then once this gets down to like a wrist, like that's just gonna be too airy, and it won't be warm enough, I think, and it'll just be really bulky. So he tried it on, and we changed our minds. It's gonna be tapered now, so I have to rip out quite a bit of this sleeve and then start doing some decreases, which I still need to figure out the math of, but that's the plan now. So one sleeve was a bit underway, but now it will be less underway. But the sleeves are pretty simple. It's just pretty simple in the round ribbing, so I'm hoping this will go pretty quickly. And oh my gosh, can you see how big this is now? It's so much yarn. But for the main blue color, I am using unspun yarn, which is definitely helping this be lighter, but it's really bulky and it's gonna be really warm. So I hope he likes, I hope he likes being really warm in this California weather. it'll be good when he goes to places where it snows, right? Anyway, I am happy that he will almost be able to wear this soon. So that is number one on the list to finish. And I think that's the only WIP for today, but let's get into some of the new yarn that has come into my life. So if you saw maybe a few weeks back, if you followed Knitting for Olive, they had a day where they were doing free worldwide shipping, which was super great because I had been planning on using some of their yarn for a new design I have in mind, and I thought it was the perfect moment to pick some of that up. So I'll get this huge basket from off the ground. Actually, let me correct myself. I actually ordered yarn from Knitting for Olive for a few projects. I ordered less of some things because I wanted just a bit to be able to swatch with and make sure that I liked how it looked and how it was behaving. And then a lot of it I did order for a specific purpose. So I don't even know how I'm going to show you this. Most of this yarn I ordered just their typical merino. So it's a fingering, let's see, what is it actually called? Yeah, Knitting for Olive merino. So it is their just typical fingering weight yarn. And this is such a lovely yarn. It's a mother-daughter pair, and they really know what they're doing. They started out as kind of designing baby knits, so knitting patterns for babies, and they started their own yarn line because they couldn't find the yarn that they wanted for these patterns for, baby knits. It has to be soft and certain characteristics that they wanted it to have, and I would definitely say they did a great job. This merino is really lovely and soft, but it's non-superwash, so it doesn't have any of that plasticky feeling. It really is lovely. And I was watching the most recent, or I think it's the most recent version, or what is it called? The most recent Pretty Knitting podcast. Knitting for Olive was on that, and I was watching that one and kind of, them talking about their story and their process, and they were talking about how many plies are in this and how it makes a really strong yarn that is less likely to pill. So that was wonderful to hear. So yeah, I've been working with this a bit already, swatching and things for a new design, of course. I'm not going to share with you that yet, but you will just have to wait and see. So it's going to have a lot of colors. So this one, these are all for it. I'm not going to be able to do this, but it's going to be a color work. I will just tell you it's going to be color work related. So lots of different colors, little bits of lots of different colors. This one, this one, this one. So I'm just really excited about it, and I think it's going to be such a wonderful feeling, and the yarn is gonna wear very well. So another great thing about Knitting for Olive is they have a million color choices, like so many color choices. So really appreciate that in a yarn line, and especially that like the differences between colors are really subtle, so you can get the exact shade that you're looking for, like, really subtle differences. So I really appreciate that. And then I also picked up some of their mohair, their silk mohair, which is also really soft and beautiful. So this is one of them, a really pretty purple. So this is for a different design. I just figured, stock up while we were getting free shipping. And then again for yet another design, some little soft pinks that are gonna go together. So I've been having a lot of fun playing and swatching with all this yarn. So yes, many new things with Knitting for Olive will be coming down the pike. And I also placed an order from Acre, my favorite yarn company, my favorite yarn Newtoden. They had some colors. This color in particular, I just fell in love with immediately when Caroline showed it. Caroline is the maker behind Newtoden yarn. And immediately when she showed this, I just fell in love with it. I was like, this has to be in my life as a shawl or a sweater or something. Just love this so much. It's like a yellow but also a green, and I think even if you paired it with like another color to kind of deepen it, I've been doing some swatching again with this, just playing around and trying to see what I like best, but it's just a really lovely colorway. So this is Hygge. I'm not good with Swedish names, excuse me. And then I also purchased some other colors because I needed more of sort of grayish beige tones for another project that I'm working on already. And I will tell you, it's a crochet design. Oh my gosh. I'm not going to become a crochet designer, but I just had this one idea that I kind of selfishly wanted in my life, so that's coming down the pike. So I needed some more grays for that, so I picked up Krusidulur and Hiver. And this one is a really lovely silvery tone, so this was kind of unique and interesting. And then just to have for possibly for some color work or maybe next fall, something bright, Svavelsticka. It's a really bright orange. So, yay! Really love the unspun yarns. Always wonderful to work with. And I think that's it for today. Oh my goodness. Well, yes, I think that's everything. So that's it from me. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed today's episode. And again, if you would like to hear more updates on all these things, new designs and new things that will be coming in the works, coming down the pike, you can always sign up for my newsletter or follow me on Instagram. Instagram is definitely a better place to see updates more quickly. It takes a lot longer to film and edit and post and everything podcast episodes, so you know, faster updates come on Instagram. And I think that's everything for today. I hope you enjoy your holiday season. Hope you get to take some time off, take some time for yourself, and enjoy sitting with your craft or traveling maybe if you're going traveling. I'm going to be going and visiting family soon, so I'm really excited about that. I'll be in Virginia. So yeah, that's it from me for today, and I hope you have a great rest of your day. So I'll see you next time. Bye bye.